Steve Welch here. Wanted to kind of give you guys a little idea that not a lot of people think about when they're buying a car. So just, a little public service announcement here, right? So here's what I want to tell you. So a lot of times I'll have somebody that will come to me and say, I didn't buy the Toyota because I needed to get a cheaper vehicle. And they bought something that wasn't a Toyota and got a cheaper vehicle, right? So if that's the case and you're thinking about a cheaper vehicle, you need to consider something. So, and I've asked people this a few times. So why would you buy a cheaper vehicle and spend more money? And people don't understand that initially until I explain it. So here's the explanation on how this works, right? So let's say you buy a car that, just in this, it could be a used car, it can be a new car, whatever, right? So you need to look, and this is the easiest way to do it. I tell people go to kbb.com, NADA, Edmunds, any of these places that have value, where they give you a rough idea of what the value is. Now, will it be 100%? No. I mean, nothing's 100%. I mean, nobody can tell you what something looks like 3 years down the road without, being a little bit wrong. But this just is meant to give you an idea. So let's say that you're looking at you're going to buy a used, say, 2020 Camry, right? And you think, well, I can find cheaper a used 2020 Altima. All right, so same year, just a different car, right? So you're same, let's assume they're the same miles or similar. Obviously the same miles is hard on a used car, but let's assume they're similar. Let's assume that Carfax is the same. There's no wreck history. Let's just assume that all of the good things are right, similarly equipped, trim levels are as close as they can be. You're not looking apples to apples, but let's assume you're close. All right, so figure how many miles you're going to drive. All right, so let's say over the next 3 years, because your average person will keep a car 3 to 5 years. Let's assume that over the next 3 years that you're going to drive 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 miles a year, whatever you drive. All right, add that to the current of the vehicle that you're looking at. All right, so there's two ways to do this, by the way. So just add that amount of miles and that same year and just go, all right, so if it's got 20,000 miles on it now, let me put 60,000 miles on it and let me see what the value is. All right, and and this may work to tell you one or the other. All right, so if you go and instead of 20,000 you got 60,000, and find out how much value you lost to put the extra 40,000 miles on it. Or maybe you go to 80,000 because you plan on putting 60,000 on it in 3 years. So now this doesn't take into account that the year model will change, but it'll just show you that particular model with more miles, what does the estimated value do based off of more miles. All right, now the other way to do it, and this is a way that might even be a little bit more accurate, but you run into a couple of variables in it. But go and say, all right, well, I'm looking at a 2020, so let me look at the 2023 version of the same car and see what's the difference between the 2023 version and the 2020 version. All right, so if you go and you see that and this works pretty well, actually. So if you look at a 2023 version and say it's a $30,000 car, all right, and then you go, all right, so 0 miles, 2023, brand new, which is what you're considering, let's say, and let's go 3 years in, we're 36,000 miles on it, and it's a 2020, and compare the two. The value difference is the money that you've spent, because keep in mind, your car is not worth zero after 3. So if you spent 30,000 on one car and 25 on the other, but the car that you spent 25 on lost $10,000 in value in 3 years, but the car that you spent 30 on lost 5, which one cost you more money? Now up front, yes, the $30,000 car cost you more money, but if you look at it this way, you'll find out that over time, when, you know, now if you keep your cars until wheels fall off, as people say, if you keep it until you've got 300,000 miles on it and you're just going to run it into the ground, and that, yeah, this is it's a different equation for you probably, but you have to factor in things like accidents. You know, somebody can hit you. You can be a perfect driver, somebody can hit you, right? So factor in things like accidents, factor in things like, you know, economic conditions, stuff like that, obviously. So if you're, you know, if you're driving a Prius and gas prices hit 99 cents, well, obviously the value of that Prius might not be as much as what it would have been if the gas prices were $5, or a Hyundai hybrid, or whatever, you know, whatever hybrid that you're thinking about driving. Same way with a truck. You get a big Tahoe or a Yukon or something like that, and gas prices hit $5 a gallon, they tend to lose some of their value, right? But if you had 99 cent, everybody wants them, right? So those types of things are things that you can't really know what's going to happen with things like gas prices, economic conditions, stuff like that. But I'm just trying to give you guys a rough little way to figure out what, and here's the thing, I've done this for 7 years now, where I've been selling cars for 7 years. This has worked very, very well. I mean, it's been pretty accurate for being able to figure out which one's the cheaper car, and which one's, you know, meaning cheaper being which one costs you less money over time. Now, there are other things to consider as well. Consider things like maintenance cost, consider things like fuel economy, obviously. I'm not trying to do that for this. I'm trying to be very simple for this because, you know, like I said, if we're apples to apples, you'd kind of hope that the fuel economy would be the same. You kind or close. You kind of hope that your insurance cost would be the same. You kind of hope. You kind of hope that if you bought a 23, that your maintenance cost would be minimal, right? Now, if you bought a 2020 with 80,000 miles on it and you're comparing, yeah, you might want to look at, you know, reliability scores, things like that, because, you know, if a vehicle has a tendency to start breaking down at 100,000 miles, yeah, you'll have to figure in that the extra maintenance cost is in there. So a lot of times, some of your luxury vehicles, there's people that run from those screaming when you hit about 100,000 miles, just because the maintenance bill alone will actually exceed a lot of people's car payment. So you have to watch out for stuff like that. But that's hard to kind of get into to equate for what I was talking about here, just because you can't do that. I'm sure you guys understand that. Most people that watch my channel are pretty smart. So, yeah. So just kind of in a general thing, we're not really going luxury to luxury. We're just going practical. A practical car. You're trying to save some money. Chances are, if you're buying something luxury, you might not even care, right? So, but if you're doing something that, you know, maybe you're buying a Honda, a Toyota, a Nissan, a Chevy, you know, when they had cars, you know, some of these, you know, vehicles that are out there, these small SUVs, the GMs, the Fords, whatever, these SUVs and stuff, you know, if you're looking at those types of cars, this will be accurate for that, right? So you guys can tell me what you guys think. Have you guys found this to be good? Look for the vehicle that you have, and put it in the comments if you think I'm right on this, because I think I'm right. So look for the vehicle that you have, and the value that it, you know, kind of take your values around to what it was when you bought it, and where you were 3 years down the road, and see if you think I'm right. So I think I'm pretty close. Like I said, it can't be 100%. You're not, you know, well, let's compare a Camry to a Camry, or let's compare an Altima to an Altima, or a Chevy Trax to a Chevy Trax. I mean, it's not going to be like that, you know? So if you're looking at 1 year of one vehicle compared to another year of a vehicle, it's not going to be like that. Here's the other thing too. So forgot this almost. This is where it'll throw you off. If you have a vehicle that had a body style change, that can throw those numbers off, and you might not go 3 years, you might go 2 years. So like the 2018 Camry changed the body style. So obviously, if you're comparing the 23 to a 2020, it's the same body style. But if you did it in 2020 and compared it to a 2017, that's going to be different because that body style changed. So you might need to know the last time that the body style changed, and maybe you do 2 years instead of doing 3. Just, you know, kind of to try to find out what you think that's going to do. But those are just a couple of little tips I have on buying a new or especially a used vehicle, to try to find out how much money it will actually cost you in value in the amount of time that you expect to keep the vehicle. So like I said, that's just kind of something that I like to do when somebody's considering something, because it's not always about the payment, and it's not always about the price of the car. So it could be something that you know, a lot of people look at it and go, wow, that car is so much more. Yeah, but if it only lost $2,000 in value in 3 years, and the one that you're buying lost 10, which one costs you more? Just like I said, different way of thinking. But and you know, people ask me, that's self-serving. I don't really know how it's self-serving. I'm talking about a used car. I can sell used cars, I can sell new cars. It's not really a self-serving thing for me. It's actually, this is 100% to help you guys. And here's the other thing. And I know I'm rambling a little bit, but here's the other thing to consider. If you just like the car, if you go, you know what, I know it's going to lose this extra value, but I really like this feature, I really like this look, I really like this whatever. If the answer is I really like this because, then what I just said doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's going to lose that kind of value. You lost an extra $3 grand, but you like the car better. Buy the car you like. You know, I mean, it would suck to drive a car for the next 3 years that you hate it. Oh, I saved some money on it, but I really hate it. So don't do that either, right? But if you're looking for just value in the cars, you like them similarly, there's not an issue there. Maybe they'll do what you want to. If you're talking about a truck, they can both pull enough to pull your trailer. They have the ability to do, you know, what you need it to do. SUV, same cargo size, whatever, all that stuff. Yeah, if it works for you, it works for you. But if you're just looking for the value, there you go. So Steve Welch, just helping you guys out. You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.